It is week 13. It means we are next 1 week from today. There is a file. And at the next lesson, we'll have questions and answers day. I plan to finish all theory today, whatever cover. I will be here in case you come with questions or questions that is due on Saturday or other questions. So I will be here, not in this room, but where it is scheduled. I don't plan any theory. I plan to finish theory today. For the exam is finished, except there is reviews I want to discuss that are not essential, but good to know. So we have today was one with example, one is without example. So good to know. I don't plan to have examples. I picked example I post from textbook, but I drastically rewrote it because quite code is getting it needs to be rewritten as current libraries and not use current calls, current approach. As this example, it is so I rewrote it like it was done yesterday, essentially. We will look at this example today. There's one more topic. This will be this scheduling book manager to perform. This is especially useful in larger such projects in your assignments. My examples, good to know how to use it, essentially. What is it? So, or that such thing exists. So you don't have to reinvent things from scratch. And how to start and run tasks in background. I used to have a for work manager, but that is kind of artificial. It does provide examples in the course that I'm referring to. You're absolutely welcome to go through apps to do it. The course a year ago and probably a couple years ago as well. Examples from Google for work manager. Example, not examples. Several versions of one. That example is quite artificial. Program that is using work manager to convert images, but it was conversion, not using library to do it. Nobody would do a scenario this way. So that artificial and useless as an app illustrates how to start and run tasks in background. Currently, that example is not using Hilt. Hilt with work manager, it involves some trick, but it is explained.com how to use work manager with Hilt. Not straightforward, but it is explained. So I use it in my example with Hilt. So idea does work, and it's not too difficult. Just learn it and do it. It's not a big deal, actually. But conceptually about work manager, how it works. I don't want that example anymore. It's artificial. It's not real case. So let's talk about exam. Since it's coming, it is one. So exam is not on Thursday. Exam is. The reason is that Thursday it is last day of classes. Doing exam on last day of classes, it's probably too. Because officially we're finishing on Thursday, not Friday. Grades are due on Monday, so we will have very little time. So for this reason, it is on. I could have grades for 3 assignments, and for assignment 4 is not due yet, so it's not. Assignment 4 is due this Saturday, so please invite. As previously we discussed it, design it as introduction and hands-on experience. Imperfect app in assignment 4. Because even from perfect, there are tons of issues. They do work, so your program work, not to crash immediately. Similarly to the examples, but if you play from given by Google, for example, make it so example or notes example, you have issues. Both of them do have issues. Perfect. It's not perfect explanation how to do it in real life. Perhaps when they wrote it, they did hands-on experience with some features of Firebase, not the perfect code to scenario. Unfortunately, this is how I tried to invest my own time into writing something better. It did improve it in some cases, but it's extremely time-consuming, so I put it on hold. He wrote a lot in this iteration of the course, a lot, and got behind schedule and grip, but it is quite exhausting, so I decided for this time. So this is about your assignment. It is assignment 4 is designed with features of Firebase. It's not. Okay. It is just to see how. In assignment 4, as previously discussed, we allow you to use AI advisor is helper, but everything for me. And I want you to get some experience with it because this is super helpful. I tried to use it at Grok to do get some advices, to get some piece. So both of them are helpful. I positive experience from using. Didn't use it to get code. I just like theoretical answers. It's fine. It works. Definitely Gemini is more Android specific from Google. It has more direct information about. So get experience, and I got totally convinced that using helpful and areas where it's hard to find documentation, high explanation how to do things. Unfortunately, it's to more or less established API. API comes, they don't help at all because they need some code base to train on. Say input information to, and when we get some brand new at all. Speaking about the Android, as previously Navigation 3 was coming, and it did come yesterday. So when we go to developerandroid.com, it is right. Navigation 3 is out. So they announced that Navigation 3 is stable and use it. Unfortunately, documentation is not really at all. So it will probably take, although there is a came up yesterday, it will probably take, it will probably comprehensive documentation. It is easy to understand how to do complicated things, how to manage logins, for example, using the information that they provide with some comments in it. And this is it. Explanation like a human readable form instead of some half page of code, or close to one. So it really probably takes to set it as coding navigation, probably a couple years. What I did try, I did even have discussions this in class, navigation list candidate. A couple weeks ago, I explained it port of trainer to navigation 3. And if you look through branches, you will see that branch, which is current default, when you go room only, no Firebase branch, it is used. There is also navigation 3 branch, also for rooms. I decided not to mess with logins. Doesn't explain how to do it really. They tell it is say easy and tell exactly how to do it. It's not easy. It's easy. And because it's new, it's not trained enough. So for this reason, I highly encourage you not to do so. Stick to navigation 2. What I compare navigation 2 and navigation 3. It is video recorded here, so you can check it out and see navigation. Like it doesn't look like navigation 2. Yeah, kind of close, but not like and so you need to be aware of it. We had some go through if you care. Okay. And during the week, every week they will blog post. Yesterday it was introductions, today something else, and so it is spotlight of the week navigation. And again, it will probably take several get through the system and even a couple years before it becomes new default. So I'm very excited about it. It's not like I'm going into that. I already I wrote, I ported for math example to navigation 3. It does go to advanced features of it that are not well. Although they claim it's easy, it's not how to do it essentially. Right. So this is about navigation. That came, not easy, has come. So, before we go into new topics, exam is 1 week from today, and parts, quiz part and practical will be on paper, and it will be similar to quiz half electronically. Electronic quiz will be today, so I need to filter old questions, refresh with new ones. So it will open tonight. Tomorrow it will. It will stay open till midnight before exam. So at midnight between, you will have 5 attempts to do questions in 5 attempts, just in different. On the exam, you can expect similar. Some could even repeat exactly, definitely from the same pool, definitely from the same topic. So I plan to reuse about half covered from before midterm for that exam. So about half of the questions will be of the course. And about second. So what should we put, what I thought, what on a quiz on practical part of from the second half, quite advanced topics like using Firebase, it's hard to remember. So I decided related to practical part of your exam and related to your, related to practice. So in that case, you use it, you process a JSON, you use the REST protocol to retrieve JSON. For half of the quiz, it will be question, protocol, and JSON. And most of it is already familiar to you because you and also to the example we'll use it. So they are pure theory, right? Some things, basic things to remember. I'm not asking you to remember code. So this is a slide, but no expectation to remember this. So probably you remember 4 error. It's quite other things, yeah. You may or may not remember. I say, take it as if required. You can always look up. So what we will go next, and after going through review, we will go to a new topic. What about theoretical part? Theoretical, I will give you JSON. I will on web. I will give you address, and I'll ask some details. Unlike assignment, no images because of the practical reason. We'll take it in class. Some people will schedule appointment at missed exam, and I will have to provide different. It is relatively easy to create different JSON files. It's looking up images for each version, so I decided, okay, let's keep it simpler. Let's have images. Okay, and so on the it will be similar to assignment of assignment 3. 4 it is Firebase. 3 it is right. So it's like flowers example, but so this will be a practical exam. Questions about it? Make sure that you understood assignment to do it, obviously. I grade at it, so probably it shouldn't be a issue. Right, so in theory, are related to it. So let's quickly talk about it. I'm not sure if it is covered in other courses, questions directly from slides, all questions. When I will provide more information, but question slides. So, I will clear that everything is directly answered. What is JSON? JSON stands for JavaScript lightweight, a text-based data format, unreadable and machine readable. So use JSON, and why we should learn JSON? It is quite widely used on internet and in computers to exchange data and save data. Language independent, although it says JavaScript object notation, script specific. And we use every language, provide libraries to read this format, objects from this format. Almost every language that can do it for you. In the libraries, sure. Okay, and there are we use the retrofit to retrieve it. One specific case, specific library, and serialization library to create data. Today example, we'll use different library just for approach. We will use JSON in today's example. So third common library, call it Moshe. So there are in Kotlin words, there are 3 ways of doing it. One, it is using Kotlin serialization library, and third one, it is JSON. Example is using JSON. So what is inside of JSON, there is one object, but it's objects nested. Since it's one, you cannot have something and something, so it's, and this object could be a regular object, so it could start a brace. If it is array object, entire JSON and end with square bracket. This is less common. Array, it's typically inside of something else, like assignment. you had array data, but it was another object, right? So on web, even if it is like kind of collection, it in one object. It is one object. By example, for Mars pictures, JSON starting with square bracket and ending with square bracket. That object was array. And in pet data, it was wrapped in regular object. So that object has a whatever is code, and to that. In your assignment, it was hours, right? So and it was assigned to data, not assigned. Use it as a key. So what is inside? Key value pairs, okay, right? So if it is like pairs inside, and what is key? In it is required to be JavaScript objects, keys in JavaScript quoted, but if we script through JavaScript objects through internet in JSON format, quotes around keys are required. In regular JavaScript, when it's not JSON required, only one key contains some symbols that can use interpreter, for example, space. Cannot be used as variable name, essentially. So if minus or something like that, plus dot, in regular JavaScript. But in JSON, anyway, so this is a difference. Keys must be strings, but values could be multiple types. Value could be string, number, or object containing or array containing something else. So just be potentially nested, arrays can contain objects, and objects can we can have quite fancy data structure. So what is object? It's not ordered key value pairs. Collection of key value. If in JavaScript we have an object fields first name and fields last name, there's no way to tell which one is coming first. In JavaScript, there is no order for case. There is no specific order for case. In arrays, definitely the items are ordered beginning from 0. Key value pairs and keys must be strings. Values could be any JSON type, and then this array is an ordered list of values from 0. So you're familiar with. And values in JavaScript and of the array doesn't have to be the same data type. Element second could be numbers, so whatever boolean. Unlike is where JavaScript is not enforcing the same of an array. Nesting objects can contain arrays or other objects. Mixing next potentially get fancy data. This is not nested. Values, keys, and values are simple type we have. String, value number, value boolean. This is example of nested JSON, and it is kind of simpler version of what you had in assignment. Right? Have a data field that is an object. It contains two keys, two data fields, and one is array, which is also one. It is array. So since JSON is text, you can use different encodings, but one is UTF-8 because it's cross-platform. So this is a specific one. White space I ignore inside of space beyond one space is ignored by compiler. So two white spaces are treated no difference in this. New line, new space. So, meaning, and this is why computer-generated JSON can come as one string from a server. And when it happens, it's important to, when we need to either use browser plugins that can, even better, we can use client specifically designed JSON. There is a popular client, and there are one of the most popular is called Postman. We didn't use it in this course because in our course we didn't need to. But if you like a server-side application, you will encounter this in the coming course in winter, when we will design server-side applications and to interact with them. So let's put it on hold till next call it web application design implementation where server-side code using Java. Okay, so pretty printing helps, and pretty printing means in the browser to display it or using specific where. Like a client to interact with server. Command uses API for web server-side programs that is providing data to It is also used a lot in config projects, for example, or other software. It's also used for storing in other files. Common. Typical issues when we that was JSON. One of this is trailing. Knows that some programming languages do allow trailing. In particular, Kotlin allows trailing comma in my code, but people. Are you familiar with the concept of trailing commas? Okay, good. Quick example. So, Kotlin code, right? Is it Kotlin code? Yes, it is Kotlin code. So. This is constructor, this is parameter. If I put a comma here, you see it's not taken as. This is trailing. So when we have something, and when we have something last one, in code, comma after the last item. Okay. Concept of trailing commas. This is function call. You see, comma, and it's taken as just. So Kotlin does allow trailing commas. Why not? But we cannot use trailing because it's not allowed. So if we can comma after last item, essentially. So this is to be aware of. Where did it go? Okay, let me find it. Oh, here it is. So in this code, trailing comma would be after algorithms. This will be trailing comma because will be after this last item. Trailing comma, and the trailing commas are not allowed. So we need to be aware of that. So it won't confuse you. But if in languages, for example, in Kotlin, you got used to it, it will, hard switch. Okay. Keys must be quoted set. It is specifically enforced in JSON. And it is case sensitive, like JSON. So summary JSON is supports structured data, essential in modern software. It was a quick review of JSON, and most of it is you had assignments that is using JSON. So some questions based on the slides. I chatted a lot. It will be based on slides, not on chat. So next set of slides is brief review or call. We did use REST protocol to retrieve data from server. Right? Wider than that, because we can use REST protocol to put the object, we can replace object with REST protocol, edit it. So this is quite quick review of what it stands for: representational state transfer. It is designed for network applications, and it is HTTP. What does it mean? State history by default. You can set it up to remember there is no history. To set up it to remember history, it will be extra. Like HTTP, you can have HTTP, this will maintain history, and like a stateless for optimization. So it's not a bug, it's a feature for optimization. It is designed for server architecture in stateless interaction. Both responses, what is cacheable? You save it. So it is set up since it is stateless. Have on the server side saved responses. We don't have to process it again. It is only applicable if there is no history. We cannot really save request because if response depends on history. It's also in terms of access to the data and layered system. A layered system, for example, for caching, layered system useful for load balancing. If responses are served by several on the back, we have some layer distribute the load between them. So in REST protocol, everything is resource. Resources identified as similar to URL, except it could be within file address or something like that. So REST protocol does not can be used with any like JSON, XML, HTML, but typically methods yet because we retrieved existing data and we didn't edit it on the server side. For simplicity, this course is already kept. I decided to keep it a little simple. But you will get experience with others in the following course when we will use React. So in the following course, also Angular, update didn't go through the system yet. Submitted, so starting January. So we will use React to exchange the server using REST protocol and this method. It is a good idea to just get. Remember, it will be on this will be on Quest for sure. And so a resource, for example, we have use get to retrieve entire list. We can use ID of a flower. Our post source, for example, we send additional flower object and it will be stored. Our put is used to replace entire data specific. Perhaps replace it with different flower or everything. If we miss some data in the put request, will be replaced with null. So this is different. Patch, unlike entire object stored on the server side, it's a specific field. For example, we're changing price of a row. So in this case, we will use patch. And delete is a specific resource, or like flower, for example. Again, we didn't use other things. We in use because we use it HTTP of REST, because REST is based on exactly the same. So we didn't have options. First of all, because of the simplicity, it's already complicated enough. And second, tedious to do. Although I have example of server that is serving flower data that is editable this way. And it is surprisingly not. You will learn how to do it in the following course, generally. Web application design implementation, even with flower. So let's continue. It means we do not maintain history by default. Session data unless you care in data. Okay. The same about HTTP. It is quite common to use. It is not part of the protocol implemented on the server side. Issue by default, session is on hard drive as a text file by the server to hard drive is a text file. If we have a distributed system, load button is which computer memory or which computer hard. So using session create extra issue on scalability of the system. So not the first choice. Using session creates one more issue. Caching response, because if we cache in responses, and if they do, okay, because it's not only also depends on history. When it is stateless, system scales stateless, and this is why REST. How it with session. Session is this per browser storage on the server side on hard drive. And it is possible, but some frameworks do provide options. So it will be stored on some extra computer device or some networked computer whatever in it. So some frameworks do provide in the following course. A request structure. If a request structure method, so identifying method, which one we use, you are the resource. Our headers with extra information, body, for example, for post, put, and patch, transfer to that side. We'll have status code, depending on what happened. Not found internal server error, for example, information, and response body, it is typically transferred back. Error codes, there are far more than that. It is just typical ones. So most of them from previous experience. You don't have to remember it, and I will not put it on. And you definitely can remember. It's not important to remember. You can always look up. So, okay, it is success, obvious, with post when we send new resource, like, for example, new flower into the database, it will create it. A bad request, it is logic crash, it's logical error. You send some that is distant with data. Authorize it, it means in order to do that, you have to log in. No. So unauthorized, unauthenticated. It's not exactly the difference One it is for one. So it says like exactly the same, but it's not. Let's put it, it is you logged in, but you're not admin, one of them, you just didn't log in. Not found, it means nothing in that address. This is internal error. It's like something is crashing, the site mistake, not yours. If it is yours, it will be a bad request. A typical GET request will contain URI address on the server, where it says response. Actually, not response, data. Okay, data. In this case, it is stateless get and stateless read-only. It's not the response; it's data actually. Okay. Sorry. It is data that is mistyped. That I did right. So it will have a method post URI, and this will create new resource. So it's not read-only. What are other protocols on typical web services? There are two common serving data: REST and SOAP. Newest SOAP is older. SOAP was created by Microsoft in the end of 90s, so it's old something. And SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol. Let's call it simple, but it is far more complicated than REST. It was called simple, and they still call it simple. With the invention of this protocol, it was the simplest around. REST is far more simple than SOAP. SOAP is typically used with XML. It is not a layer on top of HTTP, and REST is layer on top of it from HTTP. We use the JSON, but it doesn't have to be JSON. SOAP it is XML. Since strings, technically we can encode any string so and transfer it through JSON. There are standard libraries to encode any binary. So it is a possibility, but so comes to provide web services, for example, for mobile application, for web of things devices, and communication between Microsoft. How it is per side. Okay. It is for separation of concernality. It's like explanatory what it, but it is quite large applications. We will follow in course, but we will not really have because it is designed for large applications. We will not reach that stage in that course. So, in summary, REST defines a simple and scale standard HTTP method, so it's built on top of it, for modern web development. What part is, and we didn't have it in the course. The newer version, reactive REST protocol, just request and response. Reactive. Okay. Idea is to combine exchange notifications at the same time. So we'll talk about it in the following course. Reactive services. It's new technology. It's just several years. And it's a good idea to be familiar with it. Perhaps at least it's when you encounter it, so it won't be mistaken. It is definitely supported by Android. The libraries that we use and serialization library, but needed to deal with. This is why it's not part of the course. So, then, questions? Will be based just on slides, not on chatting about it. Although a video recorded, so you can flip slides. Okay, quiz, and it will stay open till midnight before exam. It will record highest attempt. It will be the same, different order. Yeah. The in-class quiz will be on paper, and anytime. Okay. No. So next step is to new topic, also related to REST. A new topic, it's about when we deal with read server side, sometimes we do not ask everything, and we cannot ask everything at once if we deal with large data. In these cases, data is retrieved. It is not even server side. We can do it from hard drive database, from hard drive like a room, retrieve data with pages. Even combine it, retrieve it as pages, put it on spare copy or backup copy and retrieve it from hard drive. So it is called paging, transferred as pages. And paging is supported by Android framework. Use it a lot. For example, when we go to session, we scroll, it keeps loading when we scroll. In this case, it is retrieving data by pages. When you scroll, more and more. So internally, I structure of the program to what is familiar to you, but with some little. To use paging, we need to include two libraries. It is for runtime support and one for, in this case, we do, right? When we use paging, we use data source. We create data source like paging source. And repository is not giving object flow right away. It is giving you pager. Unlike previous examples, repository single piece, because it's not single piece, it's coming give you single piece. Because data is coming in piece object, so you use pager object to retrieve piece. It is just logical. It's not asking for everything. It's asking for a piece. And we can retrieve flow from the pager. So it is and once we get flow, we're clear with that, how to deal with flow. But flow, it is not. It's not of paging data, right? So there is as well. So it was always slow, but there is extra step on that side, being not like flower object, but we will receive, for example, page of flower. Right? And this is for need for that in Compose is supporting paging. I have it as a demo how it behaves. So next, it's just probably put it inside, run it, how it behaves. See, it is example, it's designed as a demo. From the practical point of view, it is absolutely useless as an application, as a demo of the loading data in pieces. So, like most in C programming. So let's clone that example. Git repos app originally came from textbook. This really drastically, so it's not even close. And which course resources? Git Catalin, Kickstart mode with Jetpack and Compose. Since Compose win because of material design, I had to redo structure of it's not looking the same. But from this book, this one. So what does it do? It loads Git list of Git repo by rating. From practical point of view, we just needed long list. So this is what it's retrieving long list by pages. So let's clone it and see how it behaves. What does it have inside? Okay, git repos clone. Clone repository. I will browse for this section. Command V. Command V. Trust project. Lazy list enter. So it is using that fact that lazy list pager in it, data into lazy list. log messages into the code to know when it is loading the data. So it will print messages in log cat happens. In this case, data is retrieved by a call. It just has size and page number. Okay, this is what we got. We got list of 20, I believe, items, and this is what it printed. Requested page is 20, page 2 size 20. So it asks, and it is not a decision in the code. It is internal. I didn't ask for 3. Idea is to have a 3, assuming that one page is about what a couple more in spare time is scrolling quickly, so we already have that. And so if scrolling, eventually we will scroll out of page. No, it is page 2. It's not 3. It is 2 received 2. Okay. So you see, requested page 3, received page 3 size. Request 20, but you can get less for various reasons. Like server decides so. Standard. You requested 20 items, you have only 10 left on the list, so it cannot give you 20. Various reasons, because you can ask for it, but you'll get. Okay. So this is we have things. You can ask, but okay, not guaranteed. And when you keep scrolling, it will keep you scroll out of loaded data, about to scroll out. 4, ask it, receive it, and how does it know which page belongs page it? It just uses it on page number and page. When you keep scrolling, your code cannot, otherwise you will get duplicates of data or gap. Because server is doing checking your page size and page number, and it will calculate location, give to you. If your code is somehow changing page size, get right data. It will. You'll overlaps, depending if it makes assumptions that you didn't change page. And this is how it is on GitHub. Maybe there are other ways with extra. This is brute force approach. Where does it start? Obviously, not only to retrieve data as JSON, but it is retrieving. So let's see how it is, how it starts. So Android. Up. Okay, so libraries first. Okay, in HILT for dependency injection, it is supposed to have support for, so it keeps loading. Also, it to communicate to the server. And a particular example is using JSON library to convert Kotlin objects. Prioritization to do the conversion. This is not using it. Okay, let's keep it different. So we will have it differently from Kotlin serialization. It was originally in JSON, and it's not I was lazy, I just decided that just to see, okay, how it looks like. And in terms of plugin, we have KSP plugin because HILT needs KSP plugin. Compiler as usual. We have 2 libraries because when upgraded libraries from old, now I can see separate libraries, so I had to include that. And it is using material 3, material 2, so I had to rewrite that pieces. So, and the rest is pretty much like it is not using, because it's not using serialization to convert data. It's using JSON to convert data, receive data into Kotlin objects, JSON library. In global, I have this mentioned, and this is, since it was Android Studio, this is how it looks at an older one, and because I didn't recreate this from scratch this time, I just updated. If you create it with, like today, will not be there. It will be. I decided that, okay, too much work to request it. I changed this to 30th one. In differences, a JSON is included here, as it is mentioned in a terminal file. As usual, retrofit, we need to create an interface that declares API. Data node repos API. Okay. So it is base address plus repositories. Question mark separates request parameters, like optional. So we give server that some parameter, whatever it means, it's by ratings. So we receive it by rating, and we provide two page number and page size. Given as a parameter, but it's always 20 in this. We have right. And it is giving so it is the first, in some example we have one, right? One parameter. In retrofit module, we create this object, this is base URI, and this part is different because we're using factory, or it's not JSON, it's not, so this particular line is different, but the rest is. Since in how to create objects, element API is the same. We retrieve objects and retrieve data and create wide serialization information in that information is library specific. If you use Kotlin serialization, it will be something. If you use Mocha, JSON will be something else. So we receive it, this one, you see, this to JSON library. It's not copy-pastable in Patient or to Mocha. But what it does, and it is just give a variable name, what we have in data field in JSON, right? In JSON name, but in this case, I just use it word name. Description is the same. Next, let's look at next step is view model to repository to see. So let's go look into view model. This program has only one page to explain concept of loading the data. So let's look into view model of that page. A view model repository as usual. So this is not new. What is new is that a repository immediately it's giving you, but pager contains data flow. This flow is a flow of pageable objects, flow of repository data right away. What is this one? It's information, and it does provide copies because when you squeeze, so when we scroll it, it will load in data. If you scroll back, ask for the data again because it will cache copy. And scope of caching data, in this case it's view model provided to cache it in scope. It is scope of the task of caching data. So page the filter flow, and we cache flow here. This flow of paging data, data piece is repo, but it is wrapped in this one, paging data. Paging data is understood by lazy list. So this is where simplicity comes from, because paging data. So it's not default that comes from paging library. So there's no difference in UI. We will look into UI, but now let's look into repository. What happens at repository? So in the repository, let's leave it repository. Here it is. Just interface describing that repository is giving page. What is this? Is data field. Repo is this. It is just the name description. But what is in? Okay, let's find it. I lost it. It's a data type that you use as a page number. It doesn't have to be int. It is essentially int is easiest. It is a data type for page number. Let's look at the implementation of it. So implementation, injection of API of repos, and inside of it, we call pager constructor, but pager needs factory of paging source. What is factory? A factory is something that, right? And in this case, curly braces are super important. It's a lambda function that is creating constructor. Okay. In stack. This is a constant and hope that it will work. Okay. So that was fixed from a. Okay. It really had to be. It really, in factory, it means it should have a mean, not just given object. So this is why it has to be. It cannot be used as a cut. Right. And paging config. This is library method, and we provide page size. So you see, it is just given 20 all around. I thought how to set it up as a configuration, and I decided that, okay, this is just a dev, like kill myself over something that is not hard-coded 20 all around kind of settings. Right? And page factory, so repos paging source. This is custom class dealing with data. Paging source. So paging source. Implement paging source. See, it is inheriting from paging source. This is type of page number, and this is data. So in order, need to implement just one method, load. Not sure about this one. I didn't implement it. Okay. So a load receives parameter contains current key. If current is the first item, so you set it. So you set it on that. If it is, it will be whatever you set at the previous step. So if it is the first one, this will be set to 1. Otherwise, it will be size, and this is exactly the settings in params. I call repos, and this is parameters of that method call declaration. Next page, and again hardcore 20, and that object contains .repos. Okay, so let's see. Again, we receive repos response. This is what we receive. In repos response, items, repos on my side. So I call .repos in order to get list of repos. So this is what I receive, repos response, repos in it, and this will be a list of. Let's try to experiment clear. Repos, okay. Retrofit module. PS, API, GitHub, search. Paste. And this is not end of it because we have more parameters. We also had parameter page and which is page size. We'll set page 2. And page and then and see what happened. Nothing good happened. Reach it. I wonder why. API GitHub search. Let's find out why. API GitHub.com. GitHub.com. Okay. com/search. com/search. I missed that. Let's see. Here. So this is items. Obviously, we receive more data, right? A JSON by default is ignoring what we don't mention in the object. A Kotlin serialization will crash if it happens. Information to ignore it. So if we use Kotlin serialization, we have settings to ignore items that not mentioned. It's not difficult. I did it in another section. Okay. So this is the big items. I need to do dot. I mapped this to repos, not items. And after this, we will get repository objects and more data than I'm displaying, because I'm displaying titles. Okay. So those things. This is actual data from GitHub. We use description. All right, so let's go back paging. So this load, when you scroll it, it will be called each time one more data. And what you will receive, you size, page number and page size as a parameter inside. And you calculate what is next one page, because it cannot calculate what is next page number because it's not necessarily integer. You have to provide logic how page number. So we have it here. See? And previous page also. And previous into directions, you can scroll it forward and when previous one. Key becomes no, the last one. It is the first one. So we set it to. What is this about? It happens on refresh, and this is location where to start refresh this page, essentially do. So it's a little trickier than we typically use, manageable. Okay. When you need it, you just, with this example, find something else. So then it's not tricky. If you want to save copy on hard drive, database of these pages, it's okay. Use it if you use it. So let's see data is displayed inside of Compose. Okay. Wrapper screen. Where it's coming from? Lazy paging wrapper. And it's given as a parameter from somewhere else. So, okay. Item. Probably. Here at the screen, I will get view model. Our view model have data field repos, which is flow of repos. This is flow of repos and call collect as lazy paging items. In this company that support paging. That gives me data type lazy paging items in repo that is supported by lazy list. The magic happening here. Two API calls. And this lazy paging item, lazy list. It's this passage. And it will end up here. Lazy list. But there is a trick, right? Because it can connect. Arrow is displayed directly in the list. Can do that. Probably nicer way to display snack bar from here. So arrow will be displayed directly in the list. Okay. We have a lazy column and base it on the solution. If it is situation arrow or something else, and if it is loading, it is like first item. Arrow will be also displayed on the list, but at the bottom, big arrow. Okay. Types of arrows. Loading when you load this, when you scroll. Because when you use that case, so the arrow when you scroll will be at the bottom of the screen. It happens first time, it will be at the top because the details of it. Is similar to loading and arrow state, but in this case list itself. Do it now, I will probably show it as just pop at the bottom as snack bar. Not, yeah, but why not? So it is designed to the idea. It's not perfect examples. Definitely, it is absolutely useless from practice. Who would need a list of GitHub repositories? But it shows how to load long lists, essentially. I had the temptation just to create a data that gives long list. Next time, not this time. It's not difficult, but make it right, it will take an entire day. If it is sloppy, it's one evening, but right? So next topic, and of course, with next one. Okay. Good to know. We didn't use it in class. Our examples are quite simple for that. Maybe just expand mass example, I will use it. So I did have a fake work manager. It was refreshing data retrieved as JSON. So it was written from a server, and periodically it was refreshing the screen. That example, it still works, but yeah, I didn't like it because server always contains the same data, nothing essentially. If it's something new, it would make sense, but it was refreshing something that is the same. So perhaps some fake server with some fake data that is periodic demo. Anyway, the topic is to chat about work manager. So periodically we need to execute the app that should finish, leave the app. Periodically we need that should run even when app is not open. Periodically we need to execute create task feature, even when so a work manager is perfect for this. Before work manager, the complicated API calls, and work manager is a wrapper. So it can be used together with Hilt at places, work manager itself, and SIM manager can be used with Hilt. So it is. Look a little bit more. This is not one. For scheduling. Okay. Task scheduling. Task we may encounter like one time to start it and download, right? And this is necessary for your like download update or something. Download new data. Okay. It is one time. Be done with work manager, and you can start it in your app and sometime later, even when user closes it. And it will reboot device. Stop it and restart it, so it will survive even rebooted good. Okay, and it will be. So it is implemented in the library. Periodic app, sending data to cloud for backup of a periodic task. Starting right now. Right, but this is kind of tricky if it is manager or just start another task. Work manager. Deferrable start later. Long running, good candidate because it will continue running if user close up, and if a task is interrupted by rebooting the device, it will restart, so it will be executed. So this is idea of how get the 13, I posted a link to to unit of the, what I'm referring to, it is Android's introductory on, it is this one, work manager. It has, after this, it has, I believe it is 3 labs. Fake app, and the implement task. It is task, it is linked task, you finish one task. So it is quite tedious to, and this is why, okay, it is quite long code, so no, I haven't to it. I did in class and I realized that it takes, and most likely nobody needs it right now, just look it up, essentially. In this iteration of the course, I just talk about it. Maybe later, when I explain example, and it will be doing some kind of backup, or in this case, it will be hands-on. Okay, let's see how it happens. In this case, it is a fake example that is trying to convert image, doing brute force, but there are libraries for it. So essentially, it's a fake. But unfortunately, this does not show how to use Hilt, because this course is not using Hilt. Their course is not using Hilt. It's just extra step, definitely. Yeah, you can learn it how, but you need it. So dive into it. If you find advice, learn it when you need it, because by the time when you need it, it essentially end. And part of the course, and we'll have exam next week. So at the next lesson, like Thursday, we'll be in the place where it's supposed to be lesson. Sit and do grading. And if you come, glad to answer, or any kind of issues like homework, whatever, I'll be glad to answer. Okay. Instructional part for second lesson, it will be just fix issues, opportunity to ask questions before exam. So through this iteration of the course, we did definitely more than last year. So I'm quite happy. Although I skipped this work manager discussion, it's just not really useful at this moment. You need it actually, you can quite different actually, because it's it. Other things are, but not drastically, because I'm teaching this course more than 10 years. Yeah. About the 10 years. In Campo, I was teaching 4 years. It does change every year. Knowledge from previous year helps a lot. Knowledge from 3 years in current year. So that course will help you to learn things, changes when Android is changes. Again, it won't be like a waste. So I didn't concentrate on API calls. I tried to concentrate on general ideas are more likely to stay than as. So that was my philosophy. That was my philosophy of picking materials for it. Okay. So let's finish it.